Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep, welcome back to the map editor, and welcome back to this island that we are making. We have jumping puzzles, we have little rivers, we have forests, we have offshore islands, we have beaches, and if you're not into health food, we have champagne. Do we? Well, we certainly have pina coladas. So yeah, the island, the default island that we have been working on is looking pretty good. It's very, very big. It's a lot bigger than it looks in the editor. You have to really get into the main game to kind of get a feel for how big this place actually is. Boop. And today we're going to be working on a little area that has been kind of bugging my pants off because we haven't really done much with it. Insignificant as it seems, it's kind of also very important. So because YouTube would rather I record this with pants on, I just have to turn the in-game music down on my headphones. The band's getting very, very lively back there. Yeah, because YouTube would rather I recorded my pants on unless they set the channel on fire and throw it in a dumpster. And I'm like, YouTube, you've already done that once. And they're like, ooh, we will mega set it on fire and throw it in a mega dumpster. And I'm like, well, that's certainly a threat. So yes, the area that's kind of bothering me a little bit is right there. Right there. Just that little nub of sand. So if we go and stand on the cliff face near the fallen tree, it's good words to say actually. Oh, the fallen. Yeah, no. We've taken the island editor and just thrown a fallen tree in there. Something that the developers probably had no idea that anyone would even attempt to do. We have this kind of little river delta here, and we have a source for the river. It's shallow, and we still kind of need to do something with that. It still looks a little bit ugly-buggly, but it's there, it exists, and we can always edit something that exists. We can't edit something that's still a dream, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of, it's there, but it doesn't do much. So what we can do is throw some things on it. Now what we don't want to do is block line of sight to the little jumping puzzle, offshore jumping puzzle, and we don't really want to block line of sight out to the ocean. So we're going to have to keep it low. We're going to have to keep it on the DL. I don't think that means what you think it means. So yeah, we're going to just open up the rocks toolbox. In fact, no. We're going to go through the controls that we're using. For anyone joining us for the first time, we're using W to go forward, S to go back, A to go left, D to go right, Q to go down, E to go up. If we select something, you have been selected. We are using F to focus. We're using R to rotate, T to transform, C to clone, and delete to delete. If you think you have an object selected, and you definitely have the objects toolbox open, and you're clicking away and nothing's coming up in terms of guides, then you can always click buttons at the top, just underneath terrain and objects, and that will reset the guides. There you are. Focus, clone, and delete are also all on the bottom. I'm glad we got that covered. So we are going to hit terrain objects, so we don't have that tree selected because I don't want to accidentally move it. There are a few other things, if you are joining us for the first time, that you need to be a little bit aware of. Level of detail is quite aggressive in the map editor, so this rock in the background, if we move back far enough, it just splits into lots of tiny little pieces. That won't happen in the main game itself. Don't worry about that. That just is in the map editor. I don't know why, probably a speed thing because you're rendering everything on the island all at once, maybe. A good example of this, because it's also kind of broken, is the cargo ship. We've got red containers on the deck, and if we get close, boop, LOD model's broken, so those red containers are all missing. Don't put anything on the deck of your cargo ship, Pookie, because it'll clip through an object and then probably get lost. If it's a physics object, it will just get thrown into the skybox and you'll never see it again. That would make me sad. Well, no, it wouldn't make me sad. It would make the map creator sad. Okay, cool. So we have the toolbox. Under terrain, you've got the terrain brushes. Under objects, you've got the toolboxes. Then we're going to open up rocks. We're going to get a big rock, and we're going to put some bits and pieces here, some trees and things, and just make it look real nice, but keep it low. Keep it low. We're also going to need a little bit of sand at the back because this is the way up to the jumping puzzle. Oh, look at that! It's great! Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky to go from the swimming animation to the not swimming animation. We might need to make that a little bit shallower there. But that's something we can deal with it this episode. So rocks, we have these 5 big rocks. Some are nice. Some, okay. And some are not so nice. You just use whatever you feel is right, and we'll pull that out, and then we'll put it into the sand, and things are much better than they used to be. Look at that. All of a sudden, there's something on that little nubbin of sand. It looks good. It looks like it should be there. And also the rock helps people just in their mind say, oh yeah, that's why that sand bar is there. It's not just a lump of sand that somebody's just painted in. It is there because the rock is stopping the sand from being washed away. Ah, you're very clever. Ah, despite what people say. Is that Batman Forever? No, it's one of the Batmans. I can't remember which one. So we are going to drop that into the sand. Big rock 2. I'm going to move that back and about hit rotate, which is the R button. Going to grab the blue toggle. Of course, the toggles change depending on the object's orientation in a 3D space. And sometimes you can lose the toggles. Sometimes the toggles are in different positions. And sometimes, well, it's really hard to see what you're doing because of the 3D space. Viewed on a 2D screen. Huh. Didn't think about that before. So we are just kind of positioning this around in a way. I don't want these connected, but I do. It's not looking right. Doesn't look right. Get rid of it because it's probably not. So big rock 1, are you going to help or are you going to hinder? Rotate. So sometimes you'll put something in. If it doesn't look right, if it doesn't feel right, don't struggle with it. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it, because if you end up struggling with something, you're going to just waste your own time. And sometimes you need to play around to see what does and doesn't work. And if something's not working, then at least you've learned that doesn't work. That combination doesn't work. You've not lost anything. But yeah, don't struggle on with something that's making you sad. It's a good rule for life. So we've got these couple of rocks. So we've used big rock 1. It's there. And it's kind of nice because that's fairly low lying. We come down to the water level. Come back a little bit. Yeah, it's just kissing the edge of the rock. But it's not really touching the sand. I like that. Of course, terrain and time. If we hit the terrain, hit the cog, and then change time, the actual water level comes down to, well, it comes down quite low. And then if we change the time again, so the tide comes up to its fullest, it comes up quite high. In fact, it's very hard to see how high the tide comes, again in a 3D space. So what we're going to do is put a rock down just here. So I'm going to hit objects, and I'm going to hit small rock 1, and get the terrain brush out, just any brush. Okay, so it looks like it's here. I don't want plants in the water. It's not very realistic. So it's here, that's the edge of the water. So it's just going to be a marker. So we can see it to terrain, get the brush out. Yeah, I can go over a little bit more. Objects, just put it over. It's kind of tricky because the map editor is not, I mean, it's fairly robust in terms of what you can do with it, but it's not complete in terms of other map editors that you might use in other games. It's great that it's here though, don't get me wrong. So we're going to hit the cog, we're going to change the time of day back to midday. There we go. So we get all the light. Light is very important. I'm just going to change the audio a little bit so I've got some music in the background. That only affects me, only affects my headphones. Otherwise I'm trying to talk to you over a full band. I was going to say calypso band, I'm not entirely sure. So if I bring the brush over at midday, we know at high tide that little rock is actually touching the water line, and at low tide a lot more sand is exposed. So there are tides in the game, How far the tide actually moves along your beach depends on how shallow the beach is. It's not a very high draw, put it that way. So we can throw some trees and bits and pieces on here. In fact, let's go back up to the cliff top and make sure we haven't gone and spoiled the view. We haven't gone and spoiled the view. We have not done that. That is not a thing that we've done. Excellent, 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 excellent. So we can collapse the rocks to rocks. We have got our rocks on to the sand. Animal structures. Animals. We can throw a giant crab there. No, let's not do that. Giant crab spawner. We can throw a giant crab spawner there. Yeah, these are new if you're on the experimental version, and basically what that means is that the giant crab you can put on an island. In fact, it's actually the broken model of the giant crab, the dead giant crab. But if you put the spawner on, every 3 days a new giant crab will spawn. No, was it 6 days? Well, either way, new giant crabs will spawn. We're going to do that. We need trees and rocks, beautiful things. But you've got deciduous trees. Yes, I do. You've got more deciduous trees. Yes, I do. What are we going to put here? Now, here's a question. Do we want to put deciduous trees, or do we want to put a lot of palm trees? I'm thinking palm trees. I'm thinking palm trees. So let's keep it open. PALM. Palm 4. This is bugged. If we move back, the top disappears. What? It's just a stick. Yeah, I think if we go back far enough, the top reappears. No, there it is. Yeah, like I said, the LOD model of some of the trees are actually completely broken. I'll get rid of that. Palm 2 and 3 are probably going to be good here. And one of a few of them. So put that into the ground a little bit. Press R, spin it around because the palm tops are all the same, regardless of which tree you have. Yeah, throw that in there. So T to transform, bring it down a little bit so it's definitely in the terrain, and then put one maybe just over here. No, it's not going to be too much. Rule of 3, 3, 5, and 7 mean that you don't get weird squares forming. A triangle's fine, but a square of trees kind of looks a little bit weird. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's okay. What we can now do is hit terrain objects, so we don't have anything selected, and we have some other bits and pieces which we can throw down. Of course, these trees can be cut down by a player, so that means they would disappear. And we have to kind of keep that in mind. We could put a little ficus tree, the little ficus tree, in just to cover that, so there is at least something there. Back up. It doesn't feel right. Goodbye, ficus tree. I liked you, but you know, it's, your time's come. So, Saruman, probably we're going to have to put some plants and stuff on this island. Of course, it snaps to terrain as you get it out of the toolbox. As soon as you let go, then you get the toggles, and the snapping's gone. So what we could do is just throw this down. I think that's probably fine. So we'll just drop it into the terrain a little bit more, so we lose some of that height. Yeah, the leaves aren't clipping into anything. It's egregious. So we can leave that there. Is it clipped into the rock? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, cool. Yeah, so if you are also joining us for the first time, one of the other things that we have a bit of a problem with is the speed of the camera. So if I hold W and just move forward, it slows right down as soon as you're next to an object, then speeds up. The more objects you have, the more the camera slows down and speeds up. It looks like lag, but it's not. It's just trying to navigate so many objects with this weird speed up, slow down mechanic. There's nothing I can do. I wish there was a constant velocity for the camera. I wish there was a constant velocity for the camera. Really wish there was a constant velocity for the camera, but that's not a thing that we've got. You can put banana plants on rocks. They do look quite good, just sort of coming out of the rocks themselves, but bush? No, that's going to be tricksy to get on this island. This island's freaking tiny. Why would you do that? I don't even know. Would it work? Oh, well, yes, it would actually, because of the way we've got the rock and everything. So, cool. The LOD for these might be a little bit tricky. What you might need to do is just play with the height actually in the ground using rotating things. Now that's beyond that other rock, so what we might do is actually just drop that down, rotate it that way a little bit. Ooh, now we're starting to get it underwater. Slight problem. Rotate that so it's actually in the rock. Pull it back. The other thing it does is if you get a lot of objects together, it just kind of jumps around and then press T. This is tight. This is real tight. Okay. And I don't mean like tight. I mean as in the space that we have on our island. Now if you bring that around there, let's bring that around this R. There we go. Yeah, a very limited area that we can work on here. What we might end up doing is having bits of greenery poke out of the ground. Not so much of a problem, especially if the area is going to be covered in coral and things. So we just keep an eye on that. Just keep in mind that it might be there. But what we want is just a little bit of greenery, just a little splash of green. Using this rock here as sort of the high tide mark. Seems to have worked. So, terrain and objects, so we've got nothing selected. Yeah, if you have an object and you're moving it around, keep an eye out, because sometimes when you let go, it just snaps to another object randomly, and you might never be able to touch that object again without moving a bunch of stuff around. Hello, Vera. Are you joking? Yes, I think I am. I rather think I am. Cool, so that's a little aloe vera. Cool. Terrain and objects. And I think that's probably enough for that. The sun's going in and out. The sun's not actually attached to the clouds. The clouds, the volumetric clouds, if you have them on, they just kind of do their own thing, and then the sun comes in and out independently of that. I think I've actually got it disabled, but it doesn't do anything, that setting. So, curious and more curious. So we've just put some bits and pieces on the island. What we could do is we could throw a nana plant onto the rocks. A little non. I think it's a little bit too tight for that. You know what? I'm up for a challenge. Right, so let's see if we can get a non down there. Yeah, without it clipping into the world and with the base of it actually in. So we might be able to clip an entire leaf into a rock in so much that it doesn't look like it ever existed. Yeah, that's fine. The base is in the ground. It's a little bit in the water, but you're not going to notice that. That's better. It's just a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Good. So if we come back, terrain objects, we've got nothing selected, to go back and stand on a rock. Oh, look. Suddenly that little nubbin of sand actually looks like it should be. The rock's there protecting it. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I am quite happy with that. It's a little thing. What we could do is probably put some shoreline rocks on the other side. So if we open up rocks, we have all the way at the bottom, we have shoreline rock 1 and shoreline rock 2. Shoreline rock 1 never ever use, because when you let go, you'll never select it again. It's just something that will never come back. And you'll be like, oh baby, come back, and it'll be like, nope. So cool. Shoreline rock, just to throw in there, just to cover that back of the sandbar. Mostly, and I think I'll just hit rotate and just take it down a little bit. Mostly just to give it some substance, because it just, again, it still looked like it had been just brushed in, so that just kind of gives it a little bit of substance there. Speaking of brushing in, we probably need to raise the sand up around here, just so that if a player does swim out, it's not fantastically deep, but it will get the player into the swimming animation. Trying to get onto the rock, because there's no terrain in the rock, the player is going to get stuck, probably trying to jump out onto it. So going from swimming animation to standing, or swimming state to standing state. So we're going to head up terrain. We're going to have raise and lower. Be advised, again, if you're here for the first time, each of these tools has an amount slider, and if I select this all the way to the end, yeah, the amount slider does not change. I think the size slider is also the same as well. Why this is a thing, I don't know. So if you hit raise and lower height, and if you were to click now, you would end up with a spike all the way to the sun. But if you were to have it on smooth height, then you just have quite a good smooth tool. So the smooth tool really works better with the amount slider all the way up, and the raise and lower works better with it just a couple of pixels off of the left hand side. Left is lower, right is higher. So right is more aggressive and left is least aggressive. So yeah, that's how that slider works. So we're going to crank it all the way down, literally just all the way down, and then bring it back by a couple of pixels. We're also going to click the cog. Display ocean is off. Note that we still have the brush tool showing, but if we to click now, nothing would happen. So raise and lower. Change the size of the brush all the way down because that's ridiculous. Also, if we go up and down with the water level turned off, the shadows kind of follow the camera. Why do they do that? I don't know. I kind of know, but I'm not gonna get into it. I can't remember, there was a way of turning the water off. So if we turn the display ocean on, look away from the shadows, turn display ocean off. Yeah, that fixes it. So if you're not looking at the shadows, if you're looking at the skybox when you turn the water off, the shadows don't follow you. Why does that work? I mean, the water mesh is like... No, let's not get into it. Raise and lower. Cool. Done. So amount slider, double check it, triple check it, quad check it. Just keep checking it. Just check it as a matter of course. And then we're just going to do a little click, just one click. That hasn't put a spike up to the sun. It hasn't put a pit down into Poseidon's basement. So we're just going to raise the sound up here. We can kind of see where the water is going to end up because of the caustics. These little light ripples. They are split. You've got white, you've got yellow and blue, I believe. So a little bit of chromic aberration. It's sort of just click in there a little bit. We're going to smooth this off afterwards. We definitely want a little bit a deeper area. But hopefully we'll get the sand up. I'm just going to click around, clickety click. I'd rather just, you can click and hold, but I want a little bit more control than that. So let's bring it up. It's looking good. Click and hold here. Nothing's happening. Well, it is, again, 3D space. You have to really get to a point where you can see what you're doing in a 3D space. So we've got that up. We can tell this is above the water because we have caustics on. It's a graphics setting. If you don't, hit the card, display ocean. Easy. So we're going to go to smooth height. We're going to make that a little bit more aggressive, and then we're going to be just clicking and holding in this area and brushing around just to smooth off. Oh, we did the thing. We should have hit the cog. Display ocean, looked at the sun, and then, whoa, didn't want to do that. Hit the time slider instead. Sliders. It was sliders 90s. I can't remember. I know I need the right settings selected, so we'll go back to smooth and we'll just start smoothing away. There we go. Yeah, that was the TV show where they kept they had a little wormhole and they kept going to alternate versions of Earth. That was amazing at the time. That was great. I wonder why they kind of gave up on that idea. These days, it seems most of sci-fi is stuck in a time loop. Quite literally, everyone's given up writing and they're like, "Ooh, Star Trek. Oh, quickly, let's have a time loop. Temporal war in Enterprise. No. Whatever's going on in Discovery. No. Picard. I like Picard. Picard was actually really good. But yeah, any time where someone goes, "Oh, it's a sci-fi. Let's get into a little bit of time looping. It's clever, you know." No, it's not. It really isn't. It's the equivalent. It's the story writing equivalent. So we are just smoothing around, by the way. I mean, I'm just clicking and holding and just smoothing the seabed around here. Writing time travel into your story is the story equivalent of getting to the end of the story and going, and it was all a dream. It's really annoying for the viewer or the reader. It's not great. I do not like time travel stories. Back to the Future did it well, but then Back to the Future is an anomaly amongst time travel stories. Also, if you try to get Back to the Future, and we're going to hit raise and lower, we're going to hit lower, we're going to change the map slider all the way down, just a couple of pixels off the stop. Yeah, if you try and get, and just change the size of the brush up a little bit, I want this a little bit deeper through here. Yeah, if you try and get Back to the Future made today, I'm pretty sure people would have questions. It's like, hang on, he does what with his mum? Well, no. Stick around. It's going to be a trilogy. It's going to be an excellent a series of films. And yes, but oh no. I think they did that in Futurama as well. So let's do this. Yeah. Less time travel. More good sci-fi. More spaceships. How did we get onto that? I don't even know. So yeah, I want it lower through here. Whoa, that's the underside of the world. It's terrifying. Yeah, you can put the camera through the world mesh if you want to. I don't know why you'd want to. It's terrifying. And hit the smoothing tool. So the reason we keep bringing up the smoothing tool and the raise and lower tool, we need the mount slider up for the smoothing tool, which is the third one along, is because we don't want any triangles. The world is made up of triangles because it's just the way it is. That's how meshes work. And we want it all smooth, so there's no jagged edges, so it looks most realistic, most beauteous. It kind of looks like we're not even doing anything, to be honest. It's like we're just having a quiet chat about Star Trek. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We are doing stuff. Like I said, you're going to move the camera around in 3D space to really see what we've done. What we've done is raise the sand up here and then smooth everything off so there's nothing kind of in the way. No jaggers, no obvious signs this is... We don't want it to look MS Paint. We want it to look Photoshop, put it that way. So if we turn the water layer on, bang. So what we've done is we've made the water deeper between our little sandbar and this rock here, but what we've also done is raise the sand up here in order to hopefully, if the player comes out this way, they go into the swimming animation, and then this side they're out of the swimming animation and they're standing up before they hit the rock in order to go up the jumping puzzle. See, it's not really much of a puzzle, but it's something. It's something to do on an island that would otherwise not have much on it. Because I'm pretty sure when the lads designed the map editor, they were like, "Oh, people would just put a little island with a tree on it in the middle of nowhere." No, what we're going to do is get super complicated and super deep into making islands and bits and pieces. Excellent. So, disaster averted. Pants have stayed on. We have actually done something with that little nubbin of land. We haven't had to erase it. We haven't had to do anything to it. We've just decorated it with some trees. We haven't even put ficus on it. We've put palm trees, which keeps the area nice and open. If we go back to our rock, you still got a largely unobstructed view of the sea, which is what we wanted. Everything's fairly low lying. You can get on the island. There is a resource on there if you want it. It does make a fun little distraction if you are crossing this little strait, and we have fixed the entry to the jumping puzzle so that players don't struggle getting onto that rock. Excellent. You know what? I'm going to leave it there for the time being. So if you're watching this and you're like, "Ooh, you know what? I'm really liking it. I think I'm going to subscribe." Do subscribe. It's free. The other thing you can do is click the little bell because that'll give you notifications when videos go live. And I tell you what, I'll catch you next time.